everyone, my name is Udit. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Amazon Program Manager phone interview process. Quick note, this is not the technical Program Manager phone interview, we've got a separate video for that. At the end of this video, you should have a pretty good understanding of what the phone interview looks like, what interviewers are assessing in this round, some sample questions of each type that they'll ask, as well as some tips to prepare for this. As a quick introduction, I'm from Prepfully. We offer online anonymous mock interviews with someone who's worked in your target company and role. We also have a lot of other interview prep services such as interview question banks, recorded interviews, guides, and so on. For this video, a lot of Amazon program managers who've been helping candidates with mocks and advice also contributed content which helped us put together this video for you. So, on to the Amazon Program Manager phone interview. This is step 2 in the Program Manager interview process and comes right after you pass the recruiter phone screen. Let's discuss the format first since it's pretty standard for this round. The interview is roughly 60 minutes long and focuses on 2, potentially 3 types of interview questions. The first interview question type is a test of your program management skills. The second interview question type is behavioral in nature and you'll get asked situational and experiential questions. And the third interview question type is all role-specific questions. Now, what is the interviewer actually trying to assess in this round? Their goal is to get a high-level assessment of your entire breadth and depth of program management skills across all these domains. So in the first interview question type, your interviewer is going to deep dive into your experience as a program manager. This usually starts off with a pretty broad question such as tell me about a program that you've managed recently. Your interviewer is interested in learning about the work you did, how you drove it forward, the decisions you might have made, the stuff you unblocked or influenced, as well as very critically the lessons you learned from it all. And all the questions that they ask are going to reflect this intent. So questions will often take the shape of, so what would you do differently if you could do it all over again? Or what were some of the challenges you faced from the teams involved in this program and how did you deal with them? There could also be a little bit of strategy involved in here. So you could get asked, how do you plan a new initiative around XYZ or something that assesses how you think big picture as well. In the second type of interview question, you're going to be asked questions which test your alignment with Amazon's leadership principles. So the famous principles each have a large number of possible questions associated with them, and your interviewer will usually have 2 or 3 leadership principles that they really want to test your fit for. Questions are accordingly going to reflect this. If your role needs to index very heavily, say, on taking charge and driving things forward, they might ask you a question around own it. And on the flip side, if you're going to be involved in something that might potentially have slightly controversial aspects to it, maybe they're going to try to assess what your approach to the disagree and commit leadership principle is. The third and final type of question is going to be role-specific in nature. This is probably best demonstrated through a couple of examples. So let me give you 2. Let's say you're interviewing for an environment program manager role. So in this kind of role, you might get asked about your previous experience dealing with environment-related regulations, the motivation for your interest, have you previously liaised with environmental agencies and what your learnings were from this? Or let's take another second example. Let's say you're interviewing for an HR program manager role, in which case you might get asked questions about your background in HR and in working with internal customers, how you take into account the needs of a large employee base like Amazon has, and so on. If you'd like to practice sample questions for these 2 examples, but also for a lot more because this role has a lot of breadth, we've got a lot of them in our question bank on our website. So to keep things short, I'm just going to move to the next section, which is our tips for cracking the phone interview round. Tip number 1, always make sure that you're answering the actual question asked. It's really easy to forget that an interviewer asked, tell me about a time and start answering in the hypothetical with what you'd do if you face that situation in the future. It's also easy to abstract and start saying we instead of talking about your contribution. So please absolutely keep in mind they're interested in what you did here and you learned. Second tip, be super succinct. You need to cover a tremendous amount of ground in this interview, so you don't want to let just one topic hijack the entire conversation. When preparing, make sure to think of 2 to 3 stories across each leadership principle. They don't have to be completely unique stories. You can have several examples from your past experience that probably apply to multiple leadership principles, but make sure that you're not caught off guard if they ask you about a particular principle. Don't be in that situation where you don't have a story ready to fall back upon. My general guidance here is to try to create a story database. Go back, look at your past experiences, map them to the different leadership principles, and make sure that you have all of them covered. I've got a template below that I've included in the description, so you can have a look at that for inspiration if you don't already have some structure for framing this for yourself. Third and final tip, practice. There's just no replacement for good old-fashioned practice. Say your answers out loud, record them and play it back. Say them to colleagues, to friends. Best of all, say these answers out loud to an Amazon program manager who can give you some feedback and also push you through the twists and turns that an interview takes. You can get really good quality feedback from them on, does this align with what Amazon is looking for? Does it align with what this role is likely going to need to be able to succeed? There's a lot of Amazon program managers on Prepfully who you could potentially leverage for this kind of interview when you feel ready, and they can provide very, very targeted feedback because they've helped so many candidates by this point. They really know what success could look like and what improvement could look like and help you in your journey. So that's all from me. That's our advice from Prepfully and our experts on rocking the Amazon program manager phone interview. Once you feel ready for some practice, feel free to check out our question bank. Feel free to book a mock interview. There are links in the description below. There's also a bunch of other useful resources such as Amazon's famous writing exercise and how to deal with that, some blog posts on different aspects of the program manager interview across Amazon and other companies. So feel free to check those out if those are helpful. If you have any follow-up questions about this interview or any other interview, please ask in the comments and we'll try our best to help out. And if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks and good luck.
Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, please subscribe. Our website is prepfully.com. We've got lots of interview questions there. You can also schedule a mock interview with one of our experts. You can find the link in the description below. All the best from us at Prepfully, and we hope you totally rock your interview.